In our world, and in our world's history, you were most likely taught that people, us, the human race, has worked on ancient marvels. You were probably taught that we were the ones that built the pyramids of Egypt, that we were the ones that built the Mayan temples in Mexico and Belize, and that we built Stonehenge in England. However, let me bring this theory up. What if I told you this is all a lie? What if I told you that extraterrestrial beings, otherwise known as aliens, were responsible for all of this creations? What if I told you I know what I'm talking about as an ancient astronaut theorist? Howdy, y'all. I am your amazing host, Gustavo Perla, and I would like to welcome you to Aliens of the Historical World. Greetings, everyone. As you have heard the intro, I am Gustavo Perla, and since this is our first episode of one, I'd like to give you a rundown of what this show is all about. This program, this educational program, is for informational purposes revolving around aliens and their presence in our ancient world. We look at anthropological and archaeological sites all over the world, and we just prove by looking at them how aliens were the reason that we exist as a society today. This is a topic I'm interested in, as I've always felt that aliens had something to do with this. There's just no way, because we were just a bunch of dumb humans back in the day. We didn't know what anything was, so come on. How could you say that we were the ones that built everything? No. It had to be aliens, you know. This is a totally sane way of justifying our stuff like pyramids today. Let's be real. We were primitive, so these designs that we see with our pyramids and such, they just look a little out of this world. Anyways, let's get on with our first and only episode. Today's topic will be focused on ancient Egypt, to be specific, and as we look into the aliens that ruled over the Egyptians in ancient Egypt. Now, if you know a textbook or just seen pictures of Egypt, one of the first things you may think of is the Great Pyramids of Giza. While yes, these are a very impressive structures indeed, you have to admit, they look a little too good to be done by us primitive humans. So supposedly in our history books, a bunch of Egyptians built these pyramids for the gods and such. And you just know by looking at them, these are impressive. Like, you got to give them to this. But it's just too impressive for humans. If you were to look closely at the pyramids themselves, you would notice some little details that would just don't make any sense as humans that could have made them, you know? There are stones there that are cut almost way too perfectly, just too perfect to have been done by humans. If you look at some of them, you can see that cuts are perfect. You have perfect rectangles built making up the bricks of the pyramids. Now, humans back then, we didn't exactly have power tools. We didn't have precise cutting tools outside of just a simple hammer and stick. Those are the things people would use back in the day to make these stone structures. No, these stones are just too perfect to have been done by that. If you look at ones that were for sure built by humans, you can see chips and scruffs on the stones themselves. You don't see that on ancient Egypt's pyramids, so who could have built the pyramids if they're so precise like this? Maybe these were some handy carpenters. Who knows? But I know, as an ancient astronaut theorist, that it was indeed aliens that built the pyramids. Now, you're wondering, man, how could these aliens build such a thing? They had to give the Egyptians their famous tools in order to build them. Instead of using a simple pick and stick, Instead, they probably gave them lasers or something to cut them perfectly. Maybe even primitive versions of our own modern-day cutting technology. But according to ancient astronaut theorists, these are probably the most likely way that these stones were cut perfectly. And now that I have looked into the pyramids of Egypt, another aspect I want to look at is the hieroglyphics and the people of Egypt themselves. The ancient ones, I mean, not the modern ones. If you look at hieroglyphics inside the tombs and temples of ancient Egypt, you would notice something pretty peculiar about the people depicted in them. A lot of them really have weird shaped bodies. They would have like a weird shape that doesn't look right. And another important feature is the enlarged heads that you see on most Egyptians or most pharaohs and such. You're probably thinking, wow, this is some neat, what's the right word? This is some neat artistic expression right here. Wrong. Aliens are the Egyptians that are being depicted here. These pictures of ancient Egyptians just look too much like aliens. And I know this as an ancient astronaut theorist, that these are in fact aliens. Whether people are saying here that, oh, it's just artistic expression. No, that is just government propaganda. The aliens were ruling over the Egyptians. They were the actual pharaohs. Not this King Tut or Akhenaten looking dudes. They didn't even look like humans. They look like aliens. These hieroglyphics are very accurate to what these people look like. So, according to me, an ancient astronaut theorist, they must be aliens. Now, my time here is running short. The government's looking into me for possibly revealing such incriminating truths about our past, so I should probably start to wrap this up a little. Let's look back at what I've said here in these few minutes I've had with you. Just to review, if you look at old imagery from across ancient Egypt, you can see that people just didn't look like people. You can see that their bodies were just too alien slender, too slim to be human. If you find a skull from ancient Egypt, say that from a pharaoh, you see plenty of elongation on the skulls. Man, and here you have normal wimpy scientists talking about, oh, those are just head binding tools just to make your head look bigger. Wrong. Those are clearly alien skulls. Whoever says this is wrong. I should like to point out here that some people may like to criticize ancient astronaut theorists. Like, they think, oh, that's just a fake science. Well, wrong. If it's so fake, then how could I have graduated college with an ancient astronaut theorist degree? So, boom. We are right up there with cryptozoologists in legit science. So, I don't see why people don't believe us when we say these things are aliens. In fact, I should bring up one more point. You think that I'm probably like the only person that believes that aliens were the ones that built the pyramids? Well, I don't think so. Even media seems to think so. Haven't you ever seen this one movie from the 90s, Stargate? It stars the guy that voices Ultron. Yeah, no, that movie has aliens building them pyramids. Therefore, that's not artistic expression. That is fact. It is not science fiction. It is instead science fact. And oh, hold up. I'm getting word. The government's listening into this very podcast as we speak. They might want to take me out for revealing this incriminating information about the aliens being the ones that ruled Egypt. So I guess I have to keep this short and leave you out here in this episode 1 of 1. So just to keep this short, have a good day. And remember, you don't need to look up into the sky and look for aliens, but instead, read a history book. Look at an ancient skull. You're not looking at humans. You're looking at aliens. Thank you, and watch out for them aliens. This has been a Gustavo Perla production.